Hello, friend. I'm Professor DIY, and this is Urban Homesteading with Professor DIY, me. Last week, we put together this CNC machine, and excuse my throat, there is nothing I can do about it. And we did say we're going to try and make a video with this week, but we are not, because the week got busy. And we're going to have another project for you. What's so funny?
We said, but we're not.
Right. So stick around. This is going to be a very good episode. You've said that. 5 minutes fun. You know, every time we say something is easy, you know what happens. So today, because Elvira started it, so he will be here for, we're going to show you some easy and fun projects.
Just for the record, he thinks everything is my fault.
Because it is. So we're going to build, don't point, it's rude. So today we are going to build a set of coasters or two, and we're going to build a whimsical, what we call it, a library shelf.
Like a tabletop bookshelf, yeah.
So we're going to show you as always every step of the way, and we're going to try to do it the simplest possible way. Stick around.
Oh, and you're the one that said that, just for the record.
So with some woodworking magic, we're going to take this cedar post and we're going to transform it into something like this. It's okay, I will. This amazing book holder Casey bookmark thingy.
Book holder Casey bookmark thingy.
And actually you can even put like an LED light that you can...
There's a lot of things.
Sconce.
Yeah.
Is that the right term?
Yeah.
I'm not...
A lamp sconce.
A
yeah.
lamp sconce, yeah.
Yeah.
Lamp sconce.
You could like put something like that in here underneath, like an LED piece, and still be able to stack your books, and then you can see it.
So yeah, this is a nice little device.
Yep.
And again, you don't even need, the only thing you need is something to cut the wood with, because then you can use screws, you can use nails, brad nails. I mean, there are many different ways.
And this is less than a single board of cedar picket fencing.
So you're talking about less than $4.
Right.
And when we looked at it, it was what, 99?
Yeah.
Because this was not our design.
Right.
We saw it online, and I was flabbergasted that they wanted $99. Yes.
Yeah.
Even with filming, this took us less than, how much you think?
I don't know.
Maybe less than an hour for sure.
Yeah.
I think you can do this in about half an hour, especially your second or third one.
Yeah.
What you do.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, excellent. So, public announcement. We have developed this technique of coming from the bottom of the piece when we cut it. You don't have to do it if you don't like it, right? This is something we like to do.
And by coming from the bottom of the piece, what he really means is we put the wood on the table and then we raise the blade.
From the bottom of the piece.
Yes, but for those of you who don't speak that language.
I feel this is a very safe technique that gives us very good results, and you don't have to move the wood at all, so any variations of your movement cannot make the blade bind. So of course your safety is your own decision and your own consideration, but we've used this technique in many different pieces of wood without ever having any issues. The only time you're going to have a bind on this technique is either a tremendous bow into your piece of wood, which usually does not happen in a crosscut like you see here, but only in ribs, and of course you cannot use this technique on a rib cut because the blade is not long enough. At the most you can cut 6 inches this way. So to our experience, this is a very, very safe technique.
And there you go. We have a cut.
Excellent.
So this gives us a very good cut. The underside where the blade came up is perfect, as you can see, right? And the top, it requires but maybe one hit with a sandpaper. It is very, very good cut. Okay. And it's probably more of a function of our old blade than it is of the technique. So this is this piece is the back, correct?
Yep.
So now we're going to cut another shorter piece that is going to be actually our bottom. And then we're going to cut 2 pieces at 45, but they're going to be our top. All right? So here are our 2 pieces. This is the base, this is the long one is the back. And they're going to attach this way. You can this way, right? It's visual. It can also happen this way, but we decided we prefer it, right? Now, here is a suggestion. If you hang it on the wall, it would probably be better to attach it that way because it will be more stronger. It will be stronger, right? Because if you attach it here,
The weight of the books is gonna put stress on
which
this
is a weaker
joint.
joint
Right,
versus this.
right.
Do I make sense at all?
That's why I'm trying to supplement your explanation here. So by doing it this way, if you're gonna hang it on the wall, the attachment's gonna go here and then you're gonna have more strength. If you put it underneath there and you try to put the attachments here, it's just gonna pull right out.
And the reason this way will be stronger is the grain direction, right? If you
Right.
put screws here, this is a weaker joint,
Right.
where here is a stronger joint. So we're going to have to make how many more pieces?
Both.
Those. So we're going to cut 2 more pieces that will become eventually the roof. Excellent. So these are all the pieces that you need for this project. A back,
13 inches,
a bottom,
7 inches,
and 2 roofs.
8 inches.
So we're giving you the dimensions this time if you want to do the exact dimensions, but you can play with the dimensions. They are not critical. Like if you have a taller back, you can put more boots.
Right.
You can change the capacity. And the reason we chose the width is because this is the width these boards are coming. There is no
Right.
magical
Right.
reason.
So this is a 5.5-inch wide board, and it just is what it is.
You want it wider, we want to keep it simple. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't have to make
Yeah.
what you call it,
Joints.
joints or
Yeah.
rip a big board or whatever.
Right.
Simple projects make sense. Now, the trickier cuts of the piece will be these 2 pieces need 45, and this needs a 45 on the top.
Right.
Other than that, we're golden. Excellent. So, put your blade into a 45 and try to be as close as you can in the edge. Because ultimately we're making this a thinner piece, right? So let's cut it.
You gonna come around and cut?
Sure.
Okay.
Ring around the roses.
Yep. We're just playing musical chairs today.
I'm happy with this. Are you guys happy with this?
Okay.
Or you want to?
No, I'm happy with that because it actually gives it a little bit of like a character thing to it.
Okay, then you have this angle. Does it need to be this way or that way? Let's just figure that out.
Okay.
So you want your 45 to point inwards, as we saw you here, exactly as you make a frame. Otherwise, you're not going to have the right look. Again, this is a very straightforward process if you follow our direction.
Now, the interesting thing about this is, I apologize about my voice. Once you set your fence, you don't touch it, right? You make the same cuts on both pieces and you will be done.
Right.
If you don't like it, let's say you were a little out, you just smudge the first a little bit. That's the technical term.
You do?
Smudge
Smudge the first?
Yeah. No, the fence.
You said the first.
No, my voice is not working. Don't make me come there.
What he's saying is,
Arr.
if it's not quite right and you need a little more, all you would do is adjust your fence a little bit more toward the blade and it'll take off another slice.
And if you're to make a mistake, you want to make it that way because you cannot make the board
Right.
longer, right? So
Right.
you're taking dimension away. So we're going to do the other board exactly the same way.
Okay.
So these are all your pieces, right? Your base is just a parallelogram. It's the easiest piece. Your back is a little house shape, whatever you want to call it. And then your roof has 45, so you can fold it and make a
The
roof,
roof
right?
line, yeah.
And this is probably how we want to do it.
Yep.
And the idea is, I don't know if I can do it, but we'll try. Okay? That's the idea.
Yep.
So we have no more cuts. unless we mess up something in assembly. So now we're going to assemble. This doesn't require a lot of sanding, but a little sanding to take the saw marks off is all you need to do, right?
And little bitty hairs, like a couple of places have like just tiny little hairs on them that we're just being really gentle with. It's a very fine sanding block.
Done by very fine human.
And you can see a couple of hairs down here that sanding block is going to take off. So not much sanding required here at all, just to make it, just
So you
enough
mean,
to make it look.
Unlike me, the piece has hair.
Yeah. Just enough to make it nice and clean here, like that.
Again, we're using painter's tape under the two pieces, and then on one side only, we are going to put a dab of glue. Okay, because you could turn it around and not have shadows, maybe.
You know, the way you handed it to me, you weren't even showing it.
Painter tapes is an amazing trick that not only allows you to keep the corner very tight together, but allows you to attach it with any fastener you might want to use.
So check for fitment, and if you're happy, brad nail it. Nail brad it.
It's pretty good. Okay.
Go on the other side. Did it move?
I don't think so.
Did it come out?
And you can see that we are putting the brad nails right through this tape, and you won't even notice that once we remove it. Because
Alright.
these boards are so small, they're at a 1/2 inch. That's the size of brad nails we use, is 1/2 inch.
All right, excellent.
So we're going to take the tape off now because we've got the joint all put together.
So why did we put the tape? Just to waste it?
Now it helps to secure this joint and hold it in place in a way that, you know, human beings struggle sometimes.
It's just insurance.
Right. And you can see little pieces have gone there, but we're going to take those off and that'll be okay.
All right. A little bit of finishing and that part will be done. So with the roof finished, all we have to do is bring the back piece here and attach it, which is our next step.
And we're going to use just a little bit of glue and some more brad nails. We did select some longer brad nails because now this is a full piece and we're going straight in as opposed to having the 45s.
Okay. Now remember to put glue on both sides because once you attach, there is no way to put glue. Once you put one
Right.
side on, so.
When I say put glue on both sides, I'm referring to both sides of the 45, not on both pieces, just to clarify any confusion that this statement might have made. Do not put glue on both pieces. It actually makes them slippery and harder to align. Also, there are many ways you can make this attachment. You can use small dowels, you can use decorative screws. For example, very nice brass screws will look awesome in this piece, but we opted for brad nails because we have them, they're easy, they are not very visible, and they work very well for this process. Now, there are a lot of different things you can do here, and we are going to leave it unfinished, but you can choose to finish it, of course. You can burn it, you can add lights to it. It is a very versatile project. One of the advantages of this glue we're using, as you see now, it's white, but it is drying translucent, so when it dries, you won't even know it is there. Again, this is the Titebond, quick and thick, and allows you to work about 20 minutes after you put the joints together, which when you try to finish a project like we do to publish it to you guys, it becomes rather important, but in general, you can let glue dry and go next day and continue your project.
Now this is going to hold some weight because you can put the book that you're currently reading open.
And it'll
Like a-
act like a bookmark,
Right, but
placeholder.
it will not be a lot of weight, so.
Not unless you're like me and you read books that are,
Right, so another way to do this, if you want to have, to make it more complex, is you can put dowels here, or you can put like decorative screws, maybe brass screws,
Right.
that become an element of decoration and also hold it together.
Okay.
We opted for brass because we have them.
Right.
And now the last thing that remains is the bottom. We're going to use the long brad steel. We're going to put a little bit of glue there, and then we're going to brad nail it. Now again, a little bit of glue. The brad nails offer a little bit of structural support, but not a lot, you know. Most of the support comes from the glue, and if you use screws, the wrong size. Yeah, you
Check
said
the
you
bow.
didn't want this.
Yeah, but check the bow as well. I think that's it. Yeah. So for this piece, we have a couple of things. One is there was a little bit of a burn from the saw blade on this piece, and then also it's got a little bit of a bow. So we want to make sure that that is down on the bottom so that the weight will kind of flatten that out.
The book
The
weight,
book weight once you get those stacked. Yeah.
because that doesn't have enough of weight to do anything really.
And so now we're going to get those brad nails in.
And then you let glue dry.
Our favorite, let glue dry.
Fantastic. Look at that.
That looks awesome.
Okay. Strip.
For our next trip,
Trick.
or trip,
For our
whatever
next
you-
trick, we visited our local Dollar Tree. So it cost us $1.25 plus $1.25, $2.50, right? So you buy a set of tank depressors and a set of already cut squares, and you put them together, and they become a fun project.
And so we go from this.
To this. Here we are using our favorite method again. We use tape to put a bunch of them together. We don't know yet how many it will take per piece, right? So we know it will be about that much,
So
but we can do it again.
Yeah. So we're just starting with a bundle of them.
And we need to de-round them.
D-round them.
Yes.
This again worked beautifully. There is a very little amount of pressure towards you, the operator of the saw, when you're doing this cut, but nothing that is not manageable. So as you can see a little movement there, which is the pressure, but you can hold it very safely and very easily. If you think you cannot, then you can put a stick or a push stick of some sort opposing the direction that it pushes, so where you can see my fingers, and that will help you stabilize it.
Okay.
We need a very little saving here, but that's it.
Okay.
No, a little bit of narrative will be good here.
No, we just want people to watch what we're doing instead of talking. So we're just laying out the test fit for our coaster here. And the basic pattern is going to be herringbone for this one. And we just want to see roughly how many of the sticks are going to take to make this pattern. And this looks like it's roughly, what, 3.5 inches square?
Yeah.
In projects like this, dry fitting is very, very important.
It is Dollar Tree size.
Yeah, Dollar Tree size, whatever that is. I think they're 3.5 inch square, probably.
You don't need to be perfect here. You just want to get a general idea of how your piece will look like, so you have an idea of how many pieces you need for the rest of the coasters as well.
And until you glue them, they're going to want to slide around.
Yeah, the wiggle.
Spending a little bit of time here will save you big headaches down the road, because you get a good idea of how your piece will look, and also a very good idea of how many pieces you're going to need, ensuring you have enough. In our case, we're going to build 6 of those, and we have more than enough to complete this project. Additionally, you can change your mind on what pattern you want if you do not like what you see here.
So we're pretty happy with that look.
We
Yeah,
have to use pieces.
we will. We'll cut in the pieces. So we're going to get started with placing the whole ones. We'll come back and show you how we are cutting in the pieces to glue those in. And then we'll have to do our favorite thing, which is let glue dry. So we've created a workspace. We're using the glue on the base and are spreading it out in just a thin layer. And we do have to work pretty quickly because this is that thick and quick glue by Tight Bond.
Not like Tight Bond, it is actually Tight Bond.
But we want to make sure we have some good area.
Even though the glue is quick drying, it's not instant. So you do have a little bit of time, do not panic here. You can move the pieces around if they are not exactly where you want them. You have about 10 to 15 minutes of working time and a 20-minute total time for the glue to start drying.
And as you can see with that glue there, they are much more stable. They're staying in place, which is obviously what we want.
Fitment is important here. Make sure the pieces are where you want them before the glue dries.
And this is an exercise in patience. So you can do them all the same pattern or change patterns, correct?
Right.
And there may be a little adjustment needed as you go along.
Right.
Rarely in projects like this, everything works exactly the way you want it. That is what Mrs. DIY mean about adjustment. Be flexible, you might want to move things right or left until you have a pattern that you like and fits very nicely in the substrate, in this case, the square that we have bought.
And obviously for these edges, we're not going to try to flip it and do the rest of the herringbone. We're just going to echo the line that's going up and down. That's a little more complex than we want to do for this simple project. So now we're going to put some weight on this to let it sit and dry, which is probably 20-25 minutes, something like that.
I think it's 20 minutes.
Yeah, and then we will be able to come back to it and trim everything up.
Okay.
And here is our state-of-the-art pressure system, weighted in order to,
Right, we spare no expense.
right,
Here the Professor DIY just rolls out the money.
with our Dollar Tree project.
Yes,
Right.
we plan to spend almost $3.
Over $3.
Over $3.
Over $3.
We are not sponsored by Dollar Tree, but hey, Dollar Tree, if you're watching, we use your products a lot.
Yeah.
So what are the advantages of using Dollar Tree? Why would we use it? Let's say you live in an apartment or you don't have a lot of tools and you want to do some projects. Dollar Tree is a very good place to give you consistent thickness, consistent dimension material. Like all these are the same dimension, right? They are very consistent. And even they sell for $1.25 little saws you can buy, good enough to cut these pieces. That wouldn't be the easiest thing to do, but it will work, right?
Right. And they do have other supplies too, like small things of glue, small things of Mod Podge, just a lot of little crafty things that you can use to make these projects.
So if you don't have a lot of tools or you live in an apartment and you don't have ways to mill your material, Dollar Tree is a very effective way to start in woodworking and art crafting.
Art crafting, yeah.
Another thing? Okay.
Sure. So as you can see, we got an assembly line going. We have 4 of them created thus far, and have them all weighted for drying. And then we're gonna do 2 more, but we wanna try to use some of the offcuts here. So we're gonna wait until we're able to trim these out and maybe use those for the last 2.
It looks like our $3 cost, under $3 cost was not high enough. So at the Dollar Tree again, we're going all the way out in this episode with expenses. We purchased this adhesive cork sheet and we're going to use it because those are going to be coasters as a padding so they will not damage the surface they're in.
Right.
So simply another $25, another $1.25 brings the cost to just under $4 now.
Right, right.
And all we have to do is just cut the...
Right, so when I laid this out, this actually will make the 6 coasters when you do it in half. So we're going to cut it in half and then into thirds, and that will do backing for all 6 coasters.
in halves and in thirds, got it.
Yep,
And again, it doesn't have to be perfect because no one will see it.
right.
Of course, Elpida disagrees with that statement, but you know. And once again, our assembly table here comes into great usage because it's a very nice cutting board, right?
Yep.
And now we have to make 2 more cuts, right? Are you going to try and cut them all at the same time?
I am. And you can see that I was slightly off on my measurement, but I think it'll be okay.
This is extremely easy to cut, no problems at all.
And we're using the coasters themselves. Well, those are squares, are not coasters yet, right?
Right.
But we're using the pieces to make it easy to ourselves. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just need to cut just inside, right?
Yeah.
All right. And Elpida will be brave and try to do it at once.
Both pieces at once, yeah.
They come this side of the line on this one, right?
Another advantage of the inexpensive material is that if you make a mistake, you're not out a lot of money, and this is so easy to cut, no mistakes were made.
And the other side of the line for that, right? Is that correct?
I think so.
We're just eyeballing it.
Earballing it. Yeah.
Earballing it here.
That's an interesting thing. So, two of them are kind of off, so I might have to trim those up.
Okay, no problem.
That's okay. We have our backing for our coasters.
Right.
So that'll be good.
Nice visual effect on a very fogged lens. Welcome to North Carolina. The sled worked absolutely beautifully in this process, and it cut the pieces perfectly flush to our square, and also without a lot of tear. We do need a little bit of sanding, but I was very pleased with how it performed, and if we had a better blade, no sanding at all was required.
Wow, that was fun. So clearly you have to do that 4 times, right?
Mm-hmm.
And go. And you have to do it 16 total because the average cost says it's 4 costs, right? I mean, you can make as many as you want, but we're making 4.
We're gonna make 6. I already told them.
Oh, we're making 6.
Yeah. But now you can see
The professor was misinformed.
Yeah, the only thing is that now it's got a little bit of fuzz that we'll have to sand off.
Which is very weird because this was down.
But otherwise, I think it's turned out real nice.
Yep. 58 more times and we'll be done.
Right.
So we are slowly finishing them up, and a little bit of sanding needed because of fuzziness, which probably is more our saw blade than anything in the material, but if you need to do it, it's something that you can knock out fairly easily, right? Isn't it DIY?
Yep. And this is a really fine sandpaper, and as you can see over here, it cleans up those edges just really wonderfully.
Again, this is a semi-rustic project. You will not have perfection. Primarily since we're using Dollar Tree.
Right.
Well, now let's not knock Dollar Tree.
And on occasion, as you trim them, you might lose a small piece.
Right. So that happened here. As we were on the big saw, trimmed, and this one came out, so we've had to glue a new piece back in there. So when we come back, when it's finished with the drying, we will come back and trim it up again.
Right.
And then we've got 2 more back over there in the corner that are on a timer now for our glue, and then we'll cut those and get them sanded up like that.
Again, we're using a quick and thick glue that dries in about 20 minutes. So it's not a horrible weight, but you do need to let glue dry.
Right. And then the plan after that is to stain these and clear coat them to protect them a little bit. And of course, we're going to put the cork on the bottom of them to help protect the surface they'll sit on.
Excelente. 2 of our builds became really important in today's project. One of them was our assembly table, that even though it has a lot of things on it right now, it has the CNC and another device we'll review in the future, was instrumental in having a good assembly line, right? But the second was this, that would have made the process of trimming the pieces very difficult. Would you agree?
Much more time consuming for sure.
So I would say if you are to build a single jig, this is the one to build. You need a table, right? The process was much safer here and much simpler. Where we could have done it on the chop saw, but it would be much more sketchy.
Right.
And it would have torn much more pieces. Actually, this didn't tear pieces.
We think it was glue.
Right.
We didn't quite apply enough glue.
And
For
we
some
really have a
pieces.
very cheap blade on it too, so
Right.
it doesn't have the
But
best
this
blade.
table saw sled, which is just for straight cuts, did a great job.
And actually, I'm thinking to make another one with 45s.
Okay.
Because today we had to pause and think a lot how we do our 45s.
Right. So we've made progress. We have all 6 of the coasters, and as you can see, they've sanded out really well. They're looking very nice. And we're gonna go ahead and stain these. We've got a couple of stains picked out. We're gonna test them on some scrap pieces, see which one we like better. And after they're stained, we're also gonna do some clear coat just for a final protection.
So here is the Rust-Oleum stain and how it looks on our piece. And now we are going to try the Mean Wax. Again, we are not sponsored by either brand, but we use both brands based on what is cheaper, because nothing but the best for us, right?
Right.
Frankly, we've not seen a real difference between them, have we? Between Rust-Oleum and Mean Wax.
Not that I can think of. Yeah. No.
So we're using them, and we do buy the one we find cheapest because they're ridiculously expensive these days. So the stirrer becomes the test piece. Now it comes down to taste, right?
I think I'm leaning toward the darker one, but then I'm hesitating because I always like the darker one. So,
Well,
but is that the one that you think looks best too?
Yeah.
I do. Okay, so we'll go with the dark one.
Okay.
This one taps back.
All right. Here.
No.
So here we start. Again, I don't anticipate this to take a long time, right?
No.
And you could theoretically leave it unfinished. I don't think it looks bad unfinished, do you?
Or you could clear coat them or whatever, but
Right. And of course, the pita is very noisy back there. And of course, you can also use a different stain, or you can use an oil,
yeah.
all kinds of things. Since these are supposed to be coasters, you might also want to poly them to protect them from water.
Yeah.
Condensation,
We're gonna
but-
do that.
Okay. So we're going to wait. We let stain dry a little bit. It shouldn't take long for this small piece. But you can see the difference between a stained one and an unstained one, right? When Mrs. DIY stop for a moment. So this is our stained piece and the non-stained piece. Can you put it next to it, please? So to me, both look nice, right? So it is up to you. I was trying to match the orientation.
This way.
Okay, it's that way. Excellent. So here we are, all the staining is finished, and we chose to stain the edges as well because we think that it will make it look better. But it is a matter of personal taste, right? And I'm sorry, I gave them a heart attack here. But we do like the way it came out, right?
Yep.
So Peter, you used to be a waitress. You're doing this very well.
I did used to be a waitress and a bus person and a hostess and
And now we're going to go to our paint station to put some poly on them because again, we want to protect them from swelling due to the sweating of glasses that you put on it.
all right, sprayer. There you go.
How many coverages do you want?
I know we'll need at least 2. Possibly more.
And then you're changing direction. And that way you ensure that everything is covered. Does that make sense?
Yep.
One of the advantages of purchasing inexpensive wood materials like those craft sticks is that they come in different sizes. As you can see, we use those because that's the size we like, right? But they come in smaller sizes and you can even theoretically mix and match them. When you do that, however, it will take you longer because it will be harder to make the planning, right?
Right.
But there are many options, and again, this was $1. This was $1. In fact, this might have been 97 cents at Walmart.
Maybe.
This was the dollar store purchase. So you have a lot of options, and as you notice, you buy them for $1, around $8, $1, and you do not have to do anything other than use them.
Right.
And in general, all you need is a way to cut them. And now we're going to apply the cork that theoretically is peel and stick. Dun dun. You can always use it both ways, right? It can be reversible. Cork on the one side and decork on the other side.
Decork.
Uncorked,
That's different.
uncorkified. It is frustrating when things like that take longer than they should.
Yes.
I shouldn't talk because ever since my stroke I can barely do any of these things. My dexterity is 0, right?
Not 0, but you definitely struggle with certain things.
And I blame the stroke as well. I keep saying right 58 times.
Plus, here we are.
I like that one. The right
I
is
don't.
annoying.
I don't, because we're always here.
No, sometimes we're there. You guys vote. Are you with Elpida? Are you annoyed when I say here we are?
Let us know.
If you. So how you like my display for my drill? Do you like it?
Your drill display,
And we're going to put some neon lights, and it will be fantastic.
LED lights,
Now we're joking. This is our book holder, right? Our book shelf, whatever we're calling it.
right?
But what I was trying to jokingly demonstrate, you can actually make it a nice display,
We
right?
can,
And of course, you can build multiple of these,
right?
and you can finish them. We chose not to finish them. And if you make mistakes like we did, you can make them central focal points of your design, right?
Right.
It looks even more rustic. And of course, our coasters here, we made 6. You can make as many as you want. If you are not filming, I would say the book itself is a 20-minute project. And this, with drying time, is probably an hour project. What do you guys think?
Roughly.
So we're talking about very, very quick projects. How long that takes, if you're not filming, this only has 5-6 cuts. And you can probably build in 30 minutes. Probably faster if you build multiple.
Right.
And this, actually, even though it's smaller, it has a little more intricate
Intricacy.
to it. So I would give it 45 minutes for build time. And then 15 to 20 minutes for drying. What do you guys think?
Depending on the day, yeah.
But this is our project for today. We hope you enjoyed it. And remember, in the back, we put cork, so it is not slippery, and it will not mar your surface if you put it in a marble surface. Is that the word?
Marble, yeah.
Okay, comments. What did we learn from this build? We learned nothing, folks. We know everything. We are perfect.
Take your time with your angles
Yeah.
and be patient.
And understand that the Dollar Tree wood will not be perfect.
But when you're looking at them, they're intended to be rustic, and they came out rustic.
But we are so good, but these look perfect to me.
Yeah.
And look at this angle here. I mean, look at perfection. I mean, how
Perfection.
you cannot do it any better. This is as good as it gets, folks.
Right.
I'm joking. I'm not that full of ourselves. Well, folks, we hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, we appreciate the thumbs up. We also appreciate your comments. We make an effort to answer every comment you make. And if you want to tell us if you like this episode, you like similar episodes, or what else you might want us to show you how to do in this channel. From Professor DIY, even Professor DIY, this is DIY in Opida. Let's build something together.